You've heard what Stoics do: morning routines, journaling, cold exposure, meditation. But nobody talks about what Stoics refuse to do. The things they deliberately avoid are just as important as the things they practice. These are the 8 anti-habits that separated Stoic philosophers from everyone around them, and they still separate the strongest minds today. Refuse number 1. Complain about what they can't control. This is the foundation, the dichotomy of control. Epictetus taught that your energy has 2 categories: things in your control and things not in your control. Your thoughts are in your control. Your effort is in your control. Your character is in your control. Everything else is not. The weather is not. Other people's opinions are not. A Stoic looks at a complaint and asks, is this about something in my control or not? If it's not in your control, complaining is wasting energy. If it is in your control, then complaining is pointless. Fix it instead. This filters out most of what people complain about: traffic, the weather, how other people treated them, the unfairness of the system. A Stoic acknowledges these as difficult, but complains almost never, because complaining doesn't change what's not in your control, and the things in your control require action. Refuse number 2. Seek revenge. Marcus Aurelius wrote something that most people read wrong. The best revenge is not to be like your enemy. What he meant was clear. Don't lower yourself to the level of someone who hurt you. Don't let their behavior determine your behavior. Someone treated you badly. Your response reveals who you actually are. Are you the kind of person who returns harm for harm? Then you become what you hated. You've let them define your character. A Stoic refuses to do that, not out of forgiveness yet. Out of respect for their own character. If someone betrays you, your job is not to hurt them back. It's to be the kind of person who doesn't respond to betrayal with betrayal. It's to be better than the thing they did. This is not weakness. It's the hardest strength. It's refusing to let someone else's actions shape who you become. That's power. Refuse number 3. Chase external validation. Epictetus taught something radical. External validation is not your good. Your opinion of yourself matters. Reality matters. How you actually behave matters. But whether people applaud you, whether people approve of you, whether you're liked or famous, that's not your good. It's outside your control. And yet most people organize their entire lives around it. They make choices based on what will impress others. They avoid things that might result in disapproval. They perform constantly. A Stoic looks at that and refuses. They ask instead, is this right? Do I believe in this? Can I be proud of my own character? If yes, they do it regardless of what others think. If no, they avoid it regardless of applause. This is freedom, not the applause of others, but the approval of your own conscience. Refuse number 4. Make excuses. Seneca was brutal about this. Excuses are the weapons of the weak. When something goes wrong, take responsibility. Not all the responsibility necessarily, but your responsibility. What could you have done differently? Where did you fail to act? A Stoic answers those questions. They don't blame circumstances or other people. They ask what's in their control and they own it. This is uncomfortable because it means accepting that you're partly responsible for your own life, but it's also liberating. Because if you're responsible, then you have power. You can change it. You can act differently next time. The moment you stop making excuses, you stop being a victim of circumstance. You become an agent in your own life. Refuse number 5. Compare themselves to others. Marcus wrote bluntly about this. Don't waste the rest of your time worrying about other people. This is not indifference. It's clarity. You cannot control what other people achieve. You cannot control their talents or their opportunities. The only thing you control is you, your effort, your character, your choices. A Stoic keeps their eyes on their own path, not because they're arrogant or indifferent to others, but because comparing yourself to others pulls you away from the work that's actually yours. Comparison is a trap. It makes you either arrogant or envious. Both destroy character. A Stoic refuses to play. They focus on their own excellence and let others handle theirs. This is the only way to do your actual work well. Refuse number 6. Lie to themselves. This might be the hardest refusal. Stoic self-honesty is brutal. You lie to yourself constantly. You're lazier than you pretend. You're less brave than you claim. You're more petty than you admit. A Stoic looks at themselves clearly, not to feel guilty, to change, but you can't change what you won't see. So every morning a Stoic examines themselves. Where am I deceiving myself? About what? What truth am I avoiding? This is brutal honesty in service of becoming better. It's admitting that you're flawed and using that admission as the first step to actual improvement. Most people never do this. They lie to themselves for years. They never change because they never see clearly what needs changing. A Stoic refuses to live in that delusion. Refuse number 7. Waste time on arguments they can't win. Epictetus taught that most arguments are not worth your time or energy. Not because you're afraid to be wrong, but because some people have no interest in truth. They're interested in winning, in being right. An argument with such a person is unwinnable because the goal was never to find truth. It was to assert power. A Stoic recognizes that quickly, and they step back, not to lose, but because they value their time more than the false victory of winning an argument with someone who doesn't care about truth. This is not passivity, it's strategic. Your energy is limited, your time is finite. Spend them on things that matter, on people who might actually listen. Refuse to waste yourself on futile battles with closed minds. Refuse number 8. Put off living until tomorrow. Seneca said something that cut straight to the heart of human cowardice. Begin at once to live. Not tomorrow, not when you have more money, not when you're more confident, not when you finish this project. Now, today, the things you want to do them now. The people you want to see them now. The work you want to create it now. Most people reverse this. They put off living until some imaginary future, and then the future arrives and they're in the same pattern, same fears, same delays. Same life unlived. A Stoic refuses that. They understand that the future is not promised, that living now is the only guarantee you have. They still work, they still plan, but they live while they're planning. They don't postpone being alive until conditions are perfect because conditions will never be perfect. These 8 refusals are not about deprivation. They're about giving up the things that prevent you from actually living well, the complaints that drain your energy, the revenge that poisons your character, the validation-seeking that enslaves you to others' opinions, the excuses that rob you of power, the comparisons that distract you from your own work, the self-deception that keeps you stuck, the futile arguments that waste your time, the postponement of your actual life. Watch what changes when you refuse these things. When you stop complaining, you take action. When you stop seeking revenge, you break cycles of harm. When you stop chasing validation, you become your own authority. When you stop making excuses, you become powerful. When you stop comparing, you do your actual work. When you stop lying to yourself, you change. When you step away from unwinnable arguments, you have time for things that matter. When you stop postponing, you live. Here's the challenge. Pick the refusal on this list that you violate most often. The one that makes you uncomfortable just reading it. Write it on a card, put it where you'll see it every morning. For 7 days, track each time you almost violate it and each time you hold the line. The pattern shows your actual edge, where your discipline is weak. That's where growth happens, not in areas where you're already strong, but at the edge where you struggle. The Stoics understood who you become is determined not just by what you do, but by what you refuse to do. When you refuse the small corruptions, the small compromises, the small betrayals of yourself, you become someone whose character is clean, someone you can respect, someone you actually want to be. Subscribe for more ancient wisdom that still works today. Drop a comment telling me which refusal you struggle with most. I read every single one.